All right, it is August 24th, 2019, and we are at Anacostia Park doing the Late Skate event. And this is Ashley Emerson being interviewed by Marin Orchard. Do I have your permission to record this interview?
Yes.
All right, if you wouldn't mind just starting off by telling me a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I'm Ashley Emerson, and I am a Ward 7 resident, second generation native Washingtonian, very proud to still be here in the city with my family. I also work in the mayor's office of African American Affairs, and one of our biggest jobs is to preserve the history and culture of African Americans, but also help with economic mobility of African Americans in the city. So I'm really excited to be here.
That's a really important job. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about what that looks like for you?
Yeah, so one of the ideas we have is partnering with the Humanities Truck with NPS, National Park Service, to kind of capture the family moments that families have here. So that's picnics, that's birthday parties. I'm looking at some right now, just late skate, and just communing with families and friends is really important. We want to capture that, but also sharing that. So making sure social media or our DC Public Libraries have that information, and how families commune and how families spend their time here in the city.
That's wonderful. Yeah, we try to ask people who they're here with, because it's very frequently friends and family, or maybe they were passing by because they've come here in the past and they have those memories. Would you like to tell me a little bit about, do you have any personal experience with this park?
Oh yes, lots. My family I grew up in the Fort DuPont neighborhood, so the summer concert series there. But here at Anacostia Park, we picnics, family cookouts, just bringing some of the kids to play at the playground and just sit in the grass. I currently walk my dog here on a leash, of course. But it's a beautiful space. It's acres of green space. And that's something we're very fortunate to have here east of the river. And just being in the park, watching the guys play basketball or just reading, it's important for us to have this space to do that. So I'm really thankful that we have it and hope that it's preserved in a way that's good for generations to come.
Do you feel like your personal experiences in the city and in this park inspired you to do the work that you do now?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes we forget that African Americans still live here, and families are growing here every day. New generations are being born. I believe we're at 381,000 African American residents in the city, and we want to make sure that continues and they're preserved and they're able to stay if they want to stay. So seeing that and understanding what that looks like in our parks and our places, where do people eat, where do people shop, where do people live, how they live, and preserving that, but also helping people get on the pathway to the middle class, as the mayor says, but really just helping people with upward mobility. That's really important, and I know that's why I'm here.
Is there something specific that you've seen the office do that you think really helps move in that direction?
Yeah, so the mayor has made significant investments in our parks and Department of Parks and Recs, our schools. I just left 2 ribbon cuttings today with Coolidge in Ward 4 and Ida B. Wells, which is a new school, middle school in Ward 4 as well. Our retail, our small business, I'm wearing obviously DC, which is a marketplace or a website for all things small business in the city, and for people to get connected to resources and to help their businesses grow. So I've seen significant investments, and I know the mayor is committed to preserving and keeping those investments going.
What keeps you in DC?
Oh my God, my family. My grandmother came here from the Annapolis area of Bristol, Maryland, in the 50s, and she had 8 children. She birthed 4 here. And so the last daughter, or the last child, was my mom. And so I'm a second generation Washingtonian, and all of my family is here. Between DC and Prince George's County, we're all here in the city. So I traveled for school. I lived in Chicago for a little while, but I always came back home because family is really important. Values, just living in a city where you grew up and being able to experience it in a way as an adult versus a child, but family definitely keeps me here.
That's something I was really aware of because I just moved here a year ago.
Oh, okay, from where?
From Indiana.
Okay,
Yeah.
Midwest.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's one thing I do a lot of like local history, but that's something I'm really aware of is that someone like you can talk about a personal experience here as a connection to the city that like no one who moves in can have.
Exactly.
And I'm just wondering like what that means to you, that this is like your place.
You know, I think about that all the time. Being a native, it's special, right? And it's special not because it's just being a native, but it's the traditions, the experience that you have with your friends. My friends I still have here. We went to all the same schools, so we have the same similar experiences. And then with the new friends that we have, or the people that move here, we get to share that with them and say, hey, did you know Anacostia Park, they do late skate, or, you know, for DuPont Park, they do the summer concert series. Come out with us. And people love it. And just sharing that with people, that historical knowledge, but also just the cultural piece of what DC is and how we have so much rich history. I always think we were the first free from emancipation, and just people don't always realize that. Or Chocolate City and those things that other cities don't have. And we are the first. So I'm really proud. I'm a proud Washingtonian. I'm proud to be here. And I'm gonna raise my family here.
Can you talk just a little bit more about like the importance of that local feel to you kind of in the national context? Like being the first and like it being the nation's capital, but you have all of these like really deep local roots that are what really ground you here.
And so it's exactly that. Forbes listed DC and Atlanta as the number 1 cities for African Americans, and I believe that we were neck and neck with Atlanta, but we were the first. Let that be known. We were the first. But all of I call it spillage. So we were the first, but also Prince George's County is the first wealthy African American county, the wealthiest African American county for. And it still has that legacy. And I know that we helped create that. And people around here, wherever you go, there's some cultural significance. There's some remembrance and honoring of the past. But also people looking to bring forward like their future traditions and things like that. So, you know, the parks is one place. Some of the stores, the corner stores, some of the shops you go to, you just pick up local items, and just seeing and really seeing some of our local spaces preserved, like at the wharf, the crab. I call it the crab shack. I know it's not that, but the place you get crabs, and it's still there, the Fisherman's Wharf, and these pretty beautiful new buildings and new restaurants, but that old history and culture is still there, and it connects us. And I think that's what's important. How do we bridge the two, the new, the old, the existing, and how do we live in concert together? Super important.
Something I'm curious about is a little bit about how you deal with that tension. Because I imagine there's some people that really resist the new and the ways that kind of pushes out old. Is there a way that you see, I think your example is brilliant, but are there other ways that tension kind of
Yeah. So we've seen some recently, you know, at the Shaw area, the Don't DC movement where it came out of. And I think the best thing we can do is just reach out and say, hey, we know that this is maybe a challenge or an issue. How can we bridge the two? How can we learn how to communicate with each other? So we're actually partnering with Don't DC to do a series communicating across cultures. And we're kicking it off in Shaw, September 4th. But just to bring the existing residents and the new residents together and talk about what that exchange looks like. Hey, I don't like you parking in front of my house, you know? Okay, maybe we could change that. Or would you like to come over for dinner because I cooked this mean chicken, you know, something. And just inviting people in to talk to each other and experience each other and kind of let go of the barriers. And I think we have a role in that and to help facilitate and to figure out what each needs and how we can just bridge it together. I think that's super important.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything that we didn't get to talk about that you really like to share?
I just want to thank you all because we've seen this truck out and there's so much to talk about. There's such rich history and culture that we have to preserve, and you all are helping us do that, one resident at a time. So thank you.
I'm so happy to do it, and we're so happy that we have your support and that you're willing to share your story.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.